All right, here we go in three, two, and one. Hello, everyone, and welcome back once again to the Great Scott Podcast. Today, I am joined by comedy icon. You know him best as Larry Dallas from the Three's Company series hit sitcom. I'm pleased to welcome Mr. Richard Kline. How's it going, Richard?
It's not easy being an icon, Mike. That's all I can tell you.
I will give you
I'm
the
doing
round of
good.
applause.
I'm doing good. I'm healthy as a horse.
Oh no, the downhill of Richard Kline.
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, it's amazing. Old actors never die. They just forget their lines. I mean, I guess I did a resident for CBS just recently, and then they call me back every once in a while to do Blue Bloods as a judge.
Oh
So
yeah.
I don't know. That's going to air in a couple of weeks. So
Well,
yeah.
speaking of being healthy as a horse, you have a birthday coming up in a couple months.
Oh, thanks a lot, Mike. Okay.
Sorry.
I thought this was going to be a soft interview.
No, do you want to tell people how old you're going to turn?
I'm going to be 78.
78. Wow, you look good for 78.
I don't look a day over 77.
No, you don't.
So
No, you really don't. See what I mean? So he's a comedy icon.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, this afternoon I had my 10th golf lesson. Of course, I can't go out on the course because I'm in New Jersey and it's freezing. But yeah, no, I'm in great shape.
Absolutely.
Look out.
Absolutely. So
when I play golf, there's no animals are ever harmed in 18 holes. Just want people to know that.
Well, let's talk about Richard at a younger age. Starting out, you were in the military during Vietnam, which, by the way, thank you for your
I was in the
service.
Army for 3 years and 1 year in Vietnam. Yeah, I mean, it was the height of the Vietnam War. As a matter of fact, I was drafted the year that they had the Tet Offensive. I think it was 68. Yeah, 68. Yeah. 68, 69, 70. Yeah. So that was hairy times. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah. And it went through five different presidents. The war did, I think.
Wow. I think
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I was fortunate because before I went over to Vietnam, I was in Fort Ord, California, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's next to Carmel, California. So that was not a bad time there.
And you rose through the ranks of being a lieutenant, was it?
Yeah, well, I went to OCS. In other words, I was an enlisted guy, whatever. And then it's OCS is 6 months of training, and I was an engineer officer. That was my rank. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So from there, after being in the military for 3 years, like you said, was it off to Hollywood for you?
No. See, I was born and raised in New York City, actually Queens, in one of the 5 boroughs, and so I immediately started working right after I got out of the Army. I auditioned for the Lincoln Center Repertory Company in New York, and spent a year with them, and then I just kept getting job after job, and then I got an agent in New York, and then they said, oh, you should go to California. There's so much television going on there. There's very little television going on in New York. So I guess I was 5 years in New York, went out to California. My first job was the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh,
Betty
yeah.
White, Ed Asner, Mary, and
Sure.
Gavin McLeod. And that was some introduction. And then the next year, I auditioned for Three's Company as a guest star. It's called guest star, and as Larry.
As Larry.
Larry. It's funny. Whenever I say my character name, I go Larry, because John Ritter, during rehearsal, he would, I would always be knocking on the door, right? Bing bong or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
The door would open and he would go, Larry. That was John.
That was, yeah.
Sometimes he'd answer the door and his pants would be down around his ankles. Yeah. To say we had fun on the set is an understatement.
Speaking of
Yes.
John, for
What's
his
that?
role. Yes. So speaking of John for his role, he beat out 50 other people, including a very young Billy Crystal for that role of Jack Tripper.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think when I auditioned, and there's no way to check this, but I think remember when I auditioned, Jeff Goldblum also auditioned for Larry.
Oh,
Um, What's interesting, I had worked with Jeff Goldblum in New York. We did a wacky review called El Grande de Coca-Cola. And Jeff's an accomplished piano player. So he played the piano, I played the drums, and it was the most insane comedy musical thing we did. It was a cabaret. It was an hour. And so I actually knew Jeff before they auditioned.
did Jeff know that you were also up for the role?
No,
No.
he didn't, as a matter of fact. I think we talked years later because I saw him on Broadway. He did a play on Broadway, and I went backstage and said hi. But we used to work out at the same Vince's Gym in North Hollywood. We used to work out there, so I would see him there on occasion.
Do you and him still go there, or was this years ago?
No. That was 104 years ago.
Oh. All right. Well, there was a couple of pilots that I hear that didn't quite make it, or that there was a pilot to Three's Company that kind of got trashed. But Suzanne Summers was brought in at the last possible moment, and that's what kind of made Three's Company what it was.
Yeah, I think they might have had a couple of blondes. I know Susan Lanier was one of them. Valerie Curtin auditioned for Janet. Finally Suzanne came in, and that kind of made that chemistry work.
Absolutely. And did I see Lucy on an episode doing some kind of reruns of
Lucy? Yeah, I think it was the 5th year anniversary of Three's Company, and she did a retrospective, and I met her, and that was obviously an incredible high point of my theatrical life. Yeah, she was very gracious, very sweet.
And that was during, and when she was there, nobody else was there. She was just on set there, and she was running. Yeah, absolutely. But speaking of Three's Company, you described John as being one of the most kind, gracious human beings that you've ever met and saw.
Well, because he was.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. No, John was special on so many levels. First of all, I'm not the first person to say that he's maybe one of the most brilliant physical comedians of all time, but he's also a terrific actor. He's done
absolutely
so many dramatic things, Sling Blade and a lot of movies of the week, whatever. But our set was a very friendly set, and John set the tone for that. I learned a lot from observing how he not only handled other people guesting on the show, but how he handled the press, because we were always constantly doing junkets and, interviews and whatever. And he always had a lighthearted, he never took himself super seriously.
Yeah.
So that rubbed off on me because, like this podcast,
Thank you.
I'm not gonna get heavy with you, mate.
All right. All right.
But let's talk about Ukraine.
All right, let's talk about Ukraine. All right. I may not be that knowledgeable, but let's give it a try.
It's somewhere there near Russia.
It's yes, sir. Yes, sir. But going to the show there, there was or after the show. Here's what I'm trying to say, if I can say it. After the show, you guys kind of went your own separate ways. And it was not until about a year or two before John's death that you guys actually, or that you and John got reconnected.
Yeah, it might have been a couple of years before he passed. He did a show in a small theater in Hollywood, and I went to see him, and we hung out there for a while. And then maybe a year or two later, I did a show down in not Pacific Palisades, Palos Verdes. Anyway, and he came down, and we hung out, and then we went. Yeah, about a month and a half before he passed, he and I and his brother went to a Dodger game. So yeah, we were starting
baseball.
Yeah. Oh God, yes. He's a huge Dodger fan and a huge Beatles fan.
And a huge Beatles, yep.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, one time on his birthday, I think I got him. They had this huge, coffee book edition of the Beatles or whatever, and I got him that coffee table, coffee table. One of those picture books, whatever.
Yeah.
No, he was a huge Beatles fan. As a matter of fact, at his funeral, this wonderful cabaret singer by the name of Amanda McBroom, who, by the way, wrote The Rose for Bette Midler. Some say love it is that song. She sang A Day in the Life. There are places I remember in my time at his funeral. Needless to say, there wasn't a dry seat in the house.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were in the process of reconnecting. But when you do a series for 8 years and you see each other 4 times a week, you're not necessarily going to have dinner every Friday night.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you still talk to Suzanne or Joyce at all?
Joyce, yeah, I see Joyce and Priscilla occasionally at these autograph shows. It's been a while though, because I haven't done one in a while. I haven't really wanted to. Not because of them. It's just it can be whatever. And my new autograph show is Cameo. You know what Cameo is?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's my new autograph show, and that's great because you get to talk to people. You make a video and you wish them happy birthday or whatever, and it's a nice way to connect with fans. But anyway, Joyce, yeah. So that's Joyce and Priscilla are the 2 that I really kept in touch with. I mean, there's not many of us left.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're one of the originals left.
Yeah, I mean, I did Suzanne's Step by Step. I did a guest spot on that.
Oh yeah, with Patrick.
And she was really sweet, and but there was a lot of bad blood going around during that whole brouhaha with her and her manager husband, going in and asking for whatever they were asking for, and we were all like, what's going to happen to the show? And then those wacky producers basically fired her, which I thought was kind of harsh. They made her do these phone calls on another set on the lot, But that's like she did very well for herself.
Absolutely, she wanted to make workout videos too.
I never got a thigh master.
No.
No.
I thought you at least send one of her. No. One for each cast.
I used to do a joke because I did like some emceeing at some local comedy clubs just as a guest, and I made up my own horrible joke. I said, "Yeah, I bought the Thigh Master and I use it by the pool, but one time I put too much suntan lotion on my thighs, and the Thigh Master sprung into my neighbor's pool." It's so stupid. There you go.
Did you end up?
Did I tell you I was going to be 78, Mike?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, but you look good for 78.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
I mean, if I could stand up, I'd show you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So going back to your, I think this was during your military days, you were on a game show, which you've done many of. And I think it was on I've Got a Secret with Stephanie Miller. And you said that you got struck by lightning.
Yeah.
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 So was that during the Vietnam days?
Yeah, it was in Vietnam. I was standing under the wing of a C-130 Hercules transport, and my sergeant and I were going down to Saigon to requisition some recreational equipment for the 101st Airborne Division. And apparently I found out later that the lightning struck the wing and then struck me and about 5 other people, and we were all like a clump. We were all transported about 10 feet down the tarmac.
Wow.
And my the first scary thing was, because I thought I got not shot, but I thought a rocket hit. We were under a rocket attack. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't feel anything from the waist down.
Wow.
It was like, no, there was no feeling whatsoever.
Do you still have bruises from it to this day?
No, but I had burns, up, I had burns up and down my legs, and the lightning exited my boots. So I had holes in the bottom of my feet. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they had it. That was fun because they had to, they call it debreeding it. They had to cut out the burnt flesh. It was.
Wow.
Thanks for bringing that up, Mike.
Yeah.
But I was on a Carson show once, Johnny Carson, and he said, I heard you've been struck by lightning. I go, yeah. I said, he goes, any ill effects from that? And I said, yeah, well, when I rub my hands together, my neighbor's garage door opens. So these are the jokes, Mike. You wanted this interview.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay. I didn't force you.
No, you didn't. No.
Okay.
But so it was ultimately, like I said, your sister really made you wanted to become a performer overall.
Well, she didn't make me. Her presence, first of all, come from a theatrical family in that
Yes.
my mother had a natural voice. She sang in a couple of community theater evenings of song. My dad was an actor for about an hour and a half during the Depression. I make a joke. He wanted to be an actor, and he wound up in the retail food market business. But my sister, 3 years older than me, she was an aspiring ballet dancer. So my mother would drag me to her dancing class, and of course, I got jealous and I wanted attention. So I was running around the house doing Jerry Lewis. Can I please? Would you mind stop the interview before I make? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No worries. No, I haven't heard.
But that's how stuff like that happens. You get this sibling rivalry, and you go, okay, well, how can I get my aunt and uncle's attention? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I ever did was in junior high school, but nothing in high school. There was no drama department. So it wasn't really till I got to college that I started to do a lot of theater.
Yeah, so I was going to say, Broadway has also been a big part of Richard's life as well.
Yeah, I've been fortunate in that respect. Yes.
And as I think it was up until 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, you were still doing Broadway.
Yeah, my last Broadway show was Waitress, and that ended in 2019. And then, of course, the what's that thing where everybody had a virus?
Yeah, I can't remember.
That thing happened.
Yeah, that thing happened. Yeah, that thing. But are you set at all to do any more Broadway at all?
Well, like everything else, when you're an actor, you wait for the call.
Yeah.
So should it happen? I don't know. I did Wicked for 13 months, and sometimes they call people who've done it on tour, they call them back to Broadway. So I don't know. Who knows?
Or rather, were you scheduled to do Broadway up until the virus hit?
No.
Okay.
No, I did 2 shows before the virus hit, and one of them, I think it was Blue Bloods, was the day before everything shut down. The industry shut down.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing there's been nothing like that ever. I'm guessing in your whole career that has ever made made Hollywood, and everything just shut down.
No, not even this. They managed to work through various, strikes by crew members or whatever.
Yeah.
But nothing like that.
Quite like that,
Nothing
yeah.
like that. But then during the pandemic, as a matter of fact, October of 2020, I did an independent movie called The Mick and the Trick, which is coming out in the spring. And that there was like a nurse on the set. We had to be tested.
Yeah.
Before we went on thing, mask until they called, we're rolling, you take off your mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the new normal.
Well, that's a new normal. Okay. So a few months ago, I went to Atlanta for 10 days to do The Resident for CBS. That's the same story. They tested. I was there 10 days. They tested every other day, even when I was not working.
Wow.
And then when you get to the set, obviously the mask and the temperature and the whole thing. Yeah, the same thing with Blue Bloods.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. But going to Richard Kline, the game show guy, you've been on a hit number of game shows. You even hosted one called Jumble, and also to tell the truth.
Yeah, well, to tell the truth is an interesting story. That was for Mark Goodson Productions. What happened was, okay, so I did the pilot. I did not get it. I did not test well for some reason, whatever. And so they replaced me with, they made like 3 replacements after me. Ahmad Rashad, he didn't get it. Some Australian guy named Gordon Peterson or something, he didn't get it. And then finally, of course, Alex Trebek got it. But the day it was supposed to air, which was like 3 or 4 months later, I'm in LA. My mother is in New York, and she called me and she said, I thought you told me you didn't get to tell the truth. I said, yeah, you didn't test well. I didn't get it. You were just on the air. I just saw you. Mom, I don't know what you're talking about. They told me I didn't get it. Do I not know my own son? I just saw you. So I said, okay, Mom, let me call you back. So I called up my manager and I said, my mother called from New York to tell me I was hosting To Tell the Truth. He said, let me make a phone call. So long story, perhaps longer, some technician in New York pulled the pilot instead of Alex Trebek and aired it. Well, my manager called Goodson Todman Productions and said, my client is humiliated, embarrassed, whatever, pain and suffering, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So they gave me a monetary payoff and sent over one of those like funeral wreaths. We're sorry.
Payment, huh?
We apologize. It's like something you get for organized crime. Yeah. We're sorry about Pachuch, but things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Isn't that a weird story though? That my mother calls me and says, you're on TV. I go, no, I'm not. Mom, come on. And she was right.
She was right. Yes, absolutely. And actually, the clip of you hosting is on YouTube. People
Get out.
Yeah, it really is.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That would be scary to watch.
You want me to send it over to you?
Well, I could find it, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But you know what? So I've been teaching for many years, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
Occasionally a student will send me over a clip of me doing a stovetop stuffing commercial from 1975. Stovetop stuffing for pork, or car commercial or Head and Shoulders. It's so funny how these things resurface over the years.
Absolutely. You're still alive and well even after you go, Richard.
Did I tell you I was going to be 64 today?
No, that you did not mention. No, that you did not mention. No.
Will you still love me? Or will you still treat me when I'm 64? All right.
But Richard, I have one more question for you, sir.
One more. That's all you get, Mike.
That's all I get. Yes, sir. So I know that times have changed. There's this thing called the internet ever since your days of like Three's Company. But for anybody wanting to be a performer, what advice do you give to them? Is there any advice you give to your performer or your students?
Well, the same advice, you give to someone who wants to be a great tennis player or a golfer. You got to practice, practice, practice. How do we get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. Yeah, because it's a craft, it's an art, people think of Hollywood and TV and movies like, oh, you just stepped off the bus and you're a good looking guy or gal and you get, or no, you have to have a craft. I mean, Meryl Streep went to Yale to study drama. I had 6 years of college theater training. Okay. And then even when I did Three's Company, after Three's Company went down, I took an acting class with Gordon Hunt, who was a great acting teacher in LA. He's Helen Hunt's father, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so you never stop learning. One of the reasons that I teach is to stay sharp, because I'm constantly looking over, material to send to my kids, or they give to me or whatever. And so it keeps me current. But I would say to a young performer, study, study, study.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Well,
when you do go into an audition, or you get called to see an agent or whatever, you have your ducks lined up. You know what you're doing. You have your craft in place.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Richard, thank you so much for your time, and please say hi to your daughter over in Los Angeles for me. Give her my best, will you?
I certainly will.
All right. Thank you, Richard, for your
All
time.
right. Thank you.